bookish people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. In today's video we are going to be filming my January book haul. These are all the books that I bought in the month of January. So yes, January. I have a new book buying philosophy for 2023, and that is to focus on my physical TBR, because my physical TBR is kind of maxing out my shelves, maxing out my book cart. So my goal is to just focus on my physical TBR and then not really buy a ton of new books, be really selective when I'm going to the thrift store, and also when it comes to buying like actual brand new books from Barnes & Noble, Target, etc. I need to be buying books I've already read via my library and I have rated 4 or 5 stars. So if or read them through Kindle Daily Deals, because I have discovered Kindle Daily Deals this month and oh my god, it's changed the game. So we're going to go over all the books that I bought this month, and we're going to go over all the books that I bought on my Kindle this month as well, because Kindle Daily Deals, you guys, you can get books for like 99 cents, $1.99, $2.99. I think the most I paid for a book this month through the Kindle Daily Deals was $4.99. So really great prices. So let's go through everything. Yeah, let's just get started with the ones I bought. So I kind of have this separated into sections. Well, this one goes down here. Kind of have this separated into a little bit of sections. So the first 2 books we're going to be going over are books that I read through my library and I rated them 4 or 5 stars, and I felt the need to have them on my shelf. The first one is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. This is a literary fiction book, which I'm not huge into literary fiction, but I really love this book a lot. I rated it 4 stars. I bought the physical edition of it because I really wanted to annotate it. I read this using an audiobook, so I listened to it. And in this book, you're following our main character, and her name's Gilda, and she is suffering from some sort of mental health problems. It's never explicitly stated like what she has, but just like from reading and analyzing her inner monologue, you can tell she has like anxiety, paranoia, depression. In this book, she's really spiraling out of control, and like I've never gotten to the point that she's gotten to in this book, but like I could relate to the way she thinks about things, and it was just really cool to see that representation in book, and seeing that inner monologue is something I could really relate to. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book a lot, and I rated it 4 stars. I bought it to annotate it, and also I kind of love the cover because she has a bunny and I own 2 bunnies, so there we go. Yeah, very excited about this book. The next book I picked up this month is The Costume Preservation Society by John Scalzi. So this one I actually got because this was 50% off at Barnes & Noble. So right after Christmas, Barnes & Noble did 50% off all hardcover sales in stores, but in the month of January, they had like a bunch of select titles 50% off. This was one of them, and this was one that has been on my TBR. I borrowed the ebook from my library, I read it, and I really enjoyed this, so I went out and bought the physical copy because I'm not someone who really likes science fiction. I shouldn't say I don't like it, I should say I'm not really well versed in it. I don't have too much experience reading science fiction, especially adult sci-fi. So this is one that I read, I really enjoyed. I felt like this was a really accessible sci-fi. I feel like I kind of get nervous when it comes to reading science fiction because some of the stuff just goes over my head, but I felt like this one was really accessible. It was a really great beginner sci-fi because I'm a beginner in it, and I really enjoyed this. This one I think I rated 4.5 stars, and yeah, I just felt the need to have it on my shelf because it's like a genre I'm not usually like reading, and I liked it, so we had to represent on my shelves. So yeah, this was a really fun one, and it's also really short, like under 300 pages. Okay, the next 2 books we have are my Book of the Month selections for the month of January. So the first one I picked was What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I'm actually currently listening to the audiobook for this as we speak. I should say that my exception to the rule of like only buying books that I have read and feel the need to have on my shelf is Book of the Month. That is my exception to the rule. Also, I put myself on the Fairy Lou adult fantasy like subscription box waitlist. And I really want to get on that wait list because there's so many great fantasy books coming out this year that I want, and I need the Fairy Loot special editions. So, yes, so my one exception to the rule of buying new books is Book of the Month. And so I picked up What Lies in the Wood by Kate Alice Marshall. In this book, you're following a group of girls, and there was a brutal attack on one of them in the forest, and they say that this one man is the one responsible for it, and he was a known serial killer that the police couldn't put behind bars. But with the girls' attack and their testimony and their ID of him, they can put him behind bars. But it takes place as they're adults, and the guy had just passed away, but they lied. He wasn't the one who attacked him, or so they think. They don't know. I don't think they know who attacked him. At this point, 50% of the book, we don't know who actually attacked her or not, but we do know that the girl the main character, which is well known in the beginning of the book, this isn't a spoiler, that she never saw him. She just made the ID because everyone was kind of pressuring her to do it to get this guy behind bars. This just is like a standard mystery thriller book. I honestly was kind of intrigued by it. The reason I ended up picking this one from Book of the Month is because I went to look at the Goodreads reviews and everyone said the twist in this book was jaw-dropping. And I've read so many mystery thrillers in 2022. I feel like some of them could be, once you read a certain amount of them, the twists start to become predictable. So when people said this was jaw-dropping twist, I knew I had to read it. I'm 50% into it again, and I'm actually really enjoying it so far. So yeah, excited about this one. And then the next book I picked from Book of the Month, which was also a January selection as well, was Lunar Love by Lauren Kung Jessen. I got 30 pages into it, so I read chapter 1 and chapter 2. It's not that I didn't enjoy the book, because I did like the beginning chapters, but I was just kind of got distracted by other books I want to read, and I was kind of like, I'll read this later. And so I put it down. But yeah, I am 30 pages into it, and hopefully I will finish it in February. Okay, the next stack of books that I have here are new releases that I purchased this month. So some of them are pre-orders, and we'll just go over them. So the first one actually was more of an impulse buy at Target because it's only $11, and I was like, it's only $11, let's buy it. And that is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. I already read this book. I absolutely loved this. This book was so funny, so witty, and just like a really amazing like YA romance, because I feel like I'm not too much of a YA romance person at this point in my life. I'm 24 years old. I'm past the YA romance phase of my life, but this book was so good. I loved it. I rated it 4.5 stars. It was an amazing book, and I never read Talia Hibbert before. I know the Brown Sisters trilogy is super popular, and it's one of those series that's held its popularity. Like, people continuously promote it and recommend it, even though it's been out for a couple of years. So if those books are anything like this book, but just add smut to it because there's all romances, like, I'm here, and I will rate it 5 stars. I cannot wait to read her Brown Sister trilogy after reading this one. The next new release I picked up, which was actually one of my 2023 pre-orders, and that is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. And I absolutely loved this book. So I read in Ninth House from December to January. It took me a while to read Ninth House because I wasn't really connecting with it. When you look at the overall plot of Ninth House, I really enjoy it, but like in the actual tedious of reading of it, I wasn't enjoying it so much. I started reading it on Kindle Unlimited, and then I switched to the audiobook, and it just, the only way I was going to finish it was through the audiobook, because honestly I kind of found it to be a bit boring. This one I feel like is a lot more plot driven than the first one, and I loved this book so much. I did listen to the audiobook for this one as well, and because I really love the narrator. Whoever narrates these audiobooks, I absolutely love her. Her voice for this is just perfect. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think because it was more plot driven, there was never a moment where I was bored by it. Like Ninth House, I was like, when is this over? This one I was like, oh my god, no, it's over already type of vibes. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I rated it 4 stars. Next new release I picked up is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. This one I have not read yet. I do have the audiobook that just came in through my Libby loan. I was like debating if I was gonna listen to the audiobook or read it physically. So I put myself on the waiting list, and I was like, okay, well, whatever comes first, whether I have to pick this one up first or I listen to it first, we shall see. Or I might just do like a little combo thing, listen to it and read it at the same time, because I can't decide what I want to do. But yes, I am very excited about this. The premise to this book really gives me Home Before Dark vibes by Riley Sager, and I really enjoyed that book, and this is like giving me those vibes, but it's in the horror category, not the mystery thriller category. So yes, I'm very excited. I always say category when I mean genre. So yes, I am just very excited to read this one, and this was another one of my pre-orders. And I know I said I'm only trying to like buy books that I read and rate it 4 or 5 stars. If you didn't see my 2023 pre-orders video, basically for Christmas my boyfriend gave me his credit card and was like, hey, go pre-order all the new releases you want to read next year, and Merry Christmas. And I was like, thank you, I love you. So those are 2 of the pre-orders that I got. And the last new release that I picked up this month is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. This I bought the same time I bought the Talia Hibbert book. So I broke my rule. I did some spontaneous book buying. And honestly, this one, I kind of regret doing the spontaneous book buying when it came to this one. Like the Talia Hibbert one, it worked out for me. Absolutely loved it. This one, I ended up rating 3 stars. I really love Rachel Hawkins' 2 previous adult mystery thrillers. I loved The Wife Upstairs. I really enjoyed Reckless Girls as well. This one I didn't enjoy as much. Like, I wouldn't say I hated it. Everything in the book, it's a short book, it's under 300 pages. Everything on paper I enjoy. My lack of the extra 2-star rating, the why it's a 3-star, not a 5-star, it's not a 4-star, is because of what's missing from the book, not what's on the pages. I felt like this book was not really that great of a mystery thriller. It felt more of like a contemporary fiction book with some like mystery thriller elements, because I would say in this book the most like mystery thriller part of the book is like completely glossed over and towards the end, and we just kind of like jump over it, and it's like, well, that's like the most like thriller-esque part of the book, so like what are you doing? Yeah, I just felt like it was way too short of a book. I definitely feel like it needed to be more fleshed out, and that was my issue with this. But you're following dual timelines, and it takes place in this villa in Italy, so you're following a timeline in the 70s of these groups of musicians and artists, and one of them is a writer. And it kind of really gives you like Daisy Jones and the Six vibes, and it's about them in this villa, and it ends in a brutal murder. Well, then you have our present day storyline where it's following these two women. They're best friends, they are also authors, and they go to have a little writing retreat together in this villa, and then one of them kind of gets sucked into like learning about the past of the villa and the murder that took place there. So yeah, again, it was a fun time. Like, it's one of those books, like, if I just listened to the audiobook and I didn't purchase it, like, I wouldn't have purchased it, you know what I mean? But it is a really beautiful cover, so, like, I'm not mad about it, and it will match my other Rachel Hawkins books, so there we go. Okay, and then the next stack of books I have here before we get into my Kindle books are all the books that I thrifted this month. I only thrifted 6 books this month, which is actually really amazing for me because I thrift 5 times a week. So I think I go to the thrift store, let's see, 5 times a week, 4 weeks in a month. I go to the thrift store 20 times a month. I sell on eBay for a living. And usually, like, when I was going crazy trying to fill up my shelves, I was buying books literally like every day at the thrift store. But this month I only got 6 books, so I am very proud of myself. The first book I picked up is Summerland by Ellen Hilderbrand. So I actually don't know what this is about, so I cannot give you the synopsis, but Ellen Hilderbrand is an auto-buy author for me, especially at the thrift store. If I see her books, I haven't read it, I just pick it up. I don't even read the synopsis because I read 8 books by her in 2022. That is when I discovered her, and I absolutely loved everything I've read by her. The lowest rated book out of those 8 books was a 4-star. There was one of those. Everything else was a 4.5 or a 5-star. So obviously I really enjoy her work. I just buy them, and there we go. The next book I picked up is Simon vs. the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli. So this is a book that I have been interested in for a while. I feel like it's been out for a while. It says cover art 2015. So yeah, I mean, this book has been out for a long time. I feel like it's just one of those classic YA contemporaries that everyone has read except for me, and it is definitely one that I would like to read. I don't really know anything about it, to be honest. I know it has to do, it's a coming of age story with LGBT representation in it, and that's all I really know about it. I'm very excited to read it and see what the hype is and why this has such a lasting effect on people. So yes, very excited for this one. The next book I picked up is The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. So this is a mystery thriller book that has been on my radar for a while, but I really tend not to buy new release mystery thrillers. Okay, like I know I bought the Rachel Hawkins one, but that's because I loved her first 2 ones. So I picked that one up. But I like at the thrift store, you find so many mystery thrillers at the thrift store. It's like, why buy them brand new? I'll just listen to them, the new releases on Libby through my library, and then if I find an interesting one at the thrift store, I pick it up. So yeah, this has been on my radar for a while. I've been waiting to find it at the thrift store. I finally came across it. Honestly, I have no idea what it's about. I think it's about a group of wives that have like a hunting trip that's like very suspicious. But really what drew me to this book is the cover. Like, I love the lipsticks and then the bullet and how they all go together. So cute. And I'm so sorry for the barking in the background. My neighbor's dogs live outside and they do not shut up. It is a constant thing. It is a constant thing. They do not shut up. They bark 24/7 and they live outside. So that's fun. Next we have Game of Thrones by George R. Martin, or George R. Martin. I was so excited when I found this book because Game of Thrones is a series I have been playing with the idea of wanting to read it. So I wouldn't say it's really been on my TBR, but it's been on my like kind of TBR, like in the back of my brain TBR. Never marked as want to read on Goodreads though. And you know what? You can thrift the mass market paperbacks of this book very easily. Like, they're always at the thrift store. I am not a mass market paperback girly. Like, I just am not. I am a normal paperback girly or a hardcover girly. Do not give me mass market paperbacks. This is the very first time I found the first Game of Thrones book in any format other than mass market paperback, so I picked it up. Has a sticker on here that says The Great American Read. I don't know if someone just added that on there, if that's supposed to be there, or what. But yeah, I honestly never watched the show. I have no idea what it is about, but I'm interested. So yeah, I bought this book. We'll see. Is this the next like fantasy era of my life? We shall see. But yes, I'm very excited to read this one, and I was so excited to thrift it. The next thrift book I picked up is Outlawed by Anna North, and this one I purely bought based on the cover. I have no idea what it's about. This was a total cover buy. I think the cover is absolutely stunning. I just love like the Western vibes, but it's also like kind of that like cartoon vibes or like pop art vibes as well. I just thought it was, or like comic vibes. I just thought it was really cool. So yes, I love the cover. No idea what it's about. Then the last book I picked up, then we're gonna go through my Kindle purchases and my Audible purchases, is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. If you've been watching my channel for the past couple months, you know I had already read this book. It was in one of my wrap-ups. I either read it May, June, or July. It was a summer read, and I absolutely loved this book so much. I rated it 5 stars. I bought my edition through Book of the Month, so I do own the Book of the Month edition. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and when I saw it, especially during the 50% off all hardcovers, I really did debate buying it because, I mean, the only reason I didn't, I was like, I wasn't blown away. Like, okay, it's sprayed edges, cool, has cool end papers, but it was like nothing that I was gonna spend $15 on, considering I already had an edition of it. But I found it at the thrift store for $1.50. $1.50, like, okay, yes, I'll take it. I have now 2 editions. I have the edition that I wanted, and someone bought this very recently and donated it because it literally says the book of the year on it and was already at the thrift store. Someone probably just did not like it. Someone probably just didn't like it, and they're just like, hey, whatever, get this off my shelves, donate this. But yes, so now I have both editions of it. I'm very excited to own this one. This one's gonna be my perfect edition. And then my Book of the Month edition, I am going to reread the book and annotate it. So that's the one I will annotate and reread because I don't want to mess up the sprayed edges on here. So this was a really amazing find, super excited. In this book, you're following Elizabeth Azzat, and she is a chemist in the 1950s to 60s. And it's just like about her life and the misogyny that she faces in the STEM realm, right? STEM, yeah, science. In the science realm, the scientist community, back in the 1950s and 60s. And it's also about her trying to empower other women and really taking on the status quo. And I just, oh my God, so good. And at one point in the book, she has a cooking show, which is a lot of fun, and I just highly recommend it. Yeah, so very cool. Okay, now we are going into the books that I purchased on my Kindle through Kindle Daily Deals. I have discovered Daily Deals. If you don't know what they are and you own a Kindle, basically every day Kindle puts a set like amount of books, usually like 50 to 60 books on sale. I would say normally the books are books you've never heard of. They're either books that are in Kindle Unlimited already, or they're just random authors you never heard of, or nonfictions you never heard of. But I feel like every day they at least have 1 to 2 recognizable titles, and sometimes they're ones I want to buy. And then they also do like starting here from 99 cents or 80% off like best-selling titles. Those will be on the website like randomly also. So yeah, that's kind of where I got all these books. It's become my daily habit. I search through the Kindle Daily Deals every day because you know what? I'd love to buy books. You know what? And I can't have a huge physical TBR anymore, so I might as well have a huge ebook TBR. The first book I picked up is We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. This one, I believe I paid $1.99 for. If I can remember how much I paid for it, I'll tell you guys. You can see the deals you're getting on Kindle Daily Deals. I think I paid $1.99 for this. This is by Grady Hendrix. I read The Southern Book Club's Clyde is Slaying Vampires by him. I read Horror Store by him. I'm about to read How to Sell a Haunted House by him. He is an author that I really enjoy the first 2 works that I read, and I've just been kind of trying to read his whole backlist. So I do own My Best Friend's Exorcism, the paperback of that, so that's another one on my TBR. Might as well add this one to the TBR as well. We Sold Our Souls, I believe it's like about a rock band and they're in hell. It just sounds like a really cool, interesting premise. Honestly, I don't really care. Once I like an author and I've read like at least 2 books by them and I like them, I just start kind of like auto buying them. So there we go. We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. The next one I picked up is Hidden Pictures by Jason R. I don't remember his last name. I remember it starts with an R. I'm sorry, I don't have the physical book in front of me, but yes, this is a book. I think this one won Best Horror of the Year in the Goodreads Choice Awards of 2022, so it was definitely one that was on my radar and that I wanted to read. I'm typically an audiobook listener. I didn't want to listen to the audiobook for this one because I heard that Hidden Pictures, and it has like pictures within the book, so it's one you want to read physically, whether that be on ebook or the actual hardback. So yeah, I found this one on Kindle Daily Deals for $4.99. I picked it up because my library waitlist for this is like 15 weeks long. And that's another thing. There are books that I see on Kindle Daily Deals that I do want to buy, but I really only buy them if my library wait time for them is super long, right? Like if it's a 15-week wait period, I'll buy it on the Kindle Daily Deal. But if I can instantly borrow it from my library, like they had Notes on Execution on Kindle Daily Deals, I think for $2.99. I really wanted to read that book, but I looked on my Libby app and you could instantly borrow it from the library because there was no wait time for it. So why am I going to pay it if I could just read it for free? So yes, I'm pretty selective on the books that I get from here because guys, I love a deal. I love a deal. I don't like to waste money. Okay, I do my due diligence. So yes, Hidden Pictures I picked up because long wait list. Anyway, the next book I picked up is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy. So Robin Hobb is a fantasy author I've heard a ton of. 2023 is my year of fantasy. I am so excited because I'm finally getting back into physically reading. I feel like in 2022 I really relied heavily on audiobooks, which is why I didn't read a lot of fantasy, because fantasy for me is best enjoyed reading it physically, whether that be on ebook or like an actual like paperback hardcover. So I didn't really do a ton of fantasy in 2022, but I do love fantasy books. So 2023, it's my year of fantasy, and I really want to read the Robin Hobb universe. And whenever I'm getting into like a well-established like fantasy author and a universe that they have created, I always Google like what the best way to read the books are. And for the Robin Hobb universe, everyone recommends starting with the Farseer trilogy, and this is the first book in that series. I hear she is a very character-based, it's like an adventure fantasy, but it's also very character-based, which sounds amazing to me. I love character-based stories. I love character-driven stories, so I'm very excited about this one. I honestly don't really know the premise to it. I just know she's an author I want to read. This is the book to start with, so there we go. Okay, the next book I picked up is The Shadow of Gods by John Gwynne. So this is another book, has a very long wait time at my library, and another fantasy book that I really want to read. I haven't read anything by this author. I know this series is kind of hyped up. I've seen a lot of people talk about this. I've seen a lot of people read the sequel to this, Hunger of the Gods, and both the first book and the sequel I've seen rave reviews about. I don't think I've really heard anyone say anything negative about this. And again, 2023, my year of fantasy, so I'm very excited to read this one. The next one I picked up is For the Wolf by Hannah Winton. This one I saw Peruse Project read in a reading vlog like 2 years ago, or whenever this book came out. I saw Peruse Project Reagan read this in one of her reading vlogs, and ever since it has been on my TBR, but it was never one I went out of my way to purchase. And this was another one, even though I feel like it's been out for a while, it still has like a decent sized wait time at my library for, so it must mean it's popular and it's good. The next Kindle book I picked up is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book of the Stormlight archive. It is not one I really plan on reading anytime soon, but it is one again that seems to consistently have a wait time at my library, and I know I'm going to read it in the future. So I've only read one book by Brandon Sanderson, which we'll talk about because it's also in this Kindle haul, but I really looked up how to enter the Cosmere, how to read Brandon Sanderson's books, and how to best enjoy the Cosmere. Everybody recommends starting with the original Mistborn trilogy, then kind of in tandem reading, then Elantris, then Warbreaker, then in tandem reading Mistborn Era 2 along with Stormlight Archive. I've read multiple like websites on how to read the Cosmere, and everyone has like different things, but that seems to be the general premise. Start with the original Mistborn. So I have a lot to get through before I actually start the Stormlight Archives, but it was $1.99, so I'm gonna buy it now, just have it sitting on my Kindle for when I'm ready for it. But I'm really hoping to read it this year. I would really like to read the original Mistborn trilogy, Elantris and Warbreaker, and start Mistborn Era 2. I have very high ambitions for my readings this year. I plan to do all that in 2023. We shall see. But yes, so I have The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I don't really know too much about it. I do know it's like this epic fantasy novel. It's over 1,000 pages, which is another reason why I wanted the ebook, because you know what? I feel like if I buy the physical book, that's gonna make my hands hurt. That's gonna make my wrists hurt. So if I can read 1,000 pages but on my Kindle and it's just super lightweight, I could bring it everywhere with me. Hell yeah, let's go. The next book I picked up on my Kindle is A Jade City by Fonda Lee. The Jade City trilogy is a very well-loved trilogy. It is one that I would really love to get into as well. It just sounds like it has a really cool premise. I think it's about like this like substance material that there's like a war over, and it's kind of mafia, and I think it takes place in like a Chinese setting, and I don't know, I'm very excited about it. It sounds really cool. I heard really amazing things about it, and another one that I've been dying to read. I think I bought this one for a $2.99. Yes, maybe that price. So yeah, very excited to read this one. And the next fantasy book I bought this year is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I bought this one because her new release is coming out, and this one I think was like a $3.99 one. Her new release is coming out, and this is, I feel like, a very well-loved like standalone fantasy, and the one that's coming out is a prequel to this one, so you can also read that as a standalone as well. But I'm just someone like, I have to read things in publication order. It's like, okay, like I know you can read that one before this one, but you published this one first, so I probably should read this one first. You know what I mean? That's how I am. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this one. It's like a very similar to The Way of Kings. You know what? It's a very chunky book. I think this book is like, the Kindle version is like 900 pages or 1,000 pages or something. So you know what? I would much rather read it on a lightweight Kindle than on a book. But yes, I'm kind of intimidated by this one, but I just bought this because I have FOMO and everyone else has read it, and everyone's gonna read the new one, and I'm not gonna have read any of them, and I have FOMO, so I got this one. The next book I picked up is Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed. Honestly, this one was total impulse buy. I honestly didn't even look this one up on my Libby app. I was just like woke up and I was like looking at the Kindle Daily Deals. I was like, I've heard of that book, and I bought it. I have no idea what it's about. I think it's like a fantasy romance, and I also think it's a standalone. I don't know. I feel like everyone was hyping this book up so much that I just bought it. And the last Kindle book we're going to talk about, then we're going to get into my 2 Audible books, is Trust in the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. So back when Brandon Sanderson did his Kickstarter, I was a backer of it. Why was I a backer of it? Why did I give him $200? I'm kind of unsure about it. I just had FOMO. That's literally, I spent $200 because I have FOMO. I had never read a Brandon Sanderson book in my entire life. This is the first one I read. So I'm including this one. I'm going to show the hardback off when I get it, whenever they come in, but I did get the ebook because I didn't even know you got the ebook when you got the hardcovers. I guess I wasn't paying attention. I was just like, here's my money, I have FOMO. But I got the ebook and I was very, very excited about it. This is the first Brandon Sanderson book I ever read, and I absolutely love this book so much. This is probably going to be, I can already tell you, this is going to be in like my top favorite books of the entire year. I am very excited about this book. I can't wait to get the physical copy of it because I need to reread it and annotate it because I am obsessed with this book. It was so amazing, so good. If you haven't read it, you should definitely go out and buy the ebook or go buy the book. I know it's out open to the general public and open to more than just the backers at this point, so everyone go read this book. Even if you haven't never read Brandon Sanderson, from watching other people's reviews of this book, because after I read a book, I always have to look up reviews. In this book, you can read it without reading the Cosmere, but like, I guess there's like Easter eggs in it that if you've never read the Cosmere like me, you'll miss, but people who are well versed in the Cosmere, there's probably lots of fun Easter eggs for you, and you probably will enjoy it even more than I did. But really amazing book, I highly recommend. And I guess I didn't technically buy it. I bought it last year, but it showed up in my Kindle this year, so there we go. And I will be showing off the hardcover when I get the hardcover, so whatever month all that is in, you will be seeing this book again. And then the last 2 books I purchased this month are both from Audible, and they were doing a 2-for-1 credit sale. So they have a selection of audiobooks that you can get 2 books for 1 credit. So I didn't have any credits, so because and the sale was going to run out before my credit renewals, then I had to buy 3 credits just to use this deal, but oh well, oh well. So for this one, I picked 2 audiobooks that were Audible only, like you could only get them through Audible, and the reason I did that was because every other audiobook I could get through my library. So like through the sale, I go through and I was like click on all the books that I want, and then I like cross-reference with my library, and if I can get it through my library, I'm not going to buy it with an Audible credit. Why would I do that? But yes, so I picked 2 books out that you can only get the audiobook through Audible. So perfect time to buy it. The first one is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This is a book that is super hyped up and is super messed up. I don't know anything about it though. The only thing is everybody's like, are you team manuscript? Are you team letter? Like, I know that about the book, but I have no idea what that's referencing. I have no idea what this book is about. I've honestly never even read a Colleen Hoover book in my entire life. So is this one gonna be the first? This will probably be the first one I ever read just because I have the audiobook and like I'm such an audiobook girly, okay? So yes, I have owned the paperback for this, I feel like for a few months now. I suck at physically reading things. Although this month in January, as I'm filming this, I have physically read almost 10 books at this point. So like, I'm on a good kick this month. I just need to continue that throughout the year. But yes, so I picked up Verity by Colleen Hoover because I was like, you know, the only way I'm going to read this is if I get the audiobook for it. So there we go. And then the next book I picked up is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This is another celebrity memoir that is on my TBR. And celebrity memoirs, to me, I feel like are best enjoyed when you listen to the audiobooks because more often than not, I don't think I've encountered any celebrity memoir where the celebrity themselves were not narrating it. So yeah, I just feel like it's best to listen to the audiobooks because it's their story, it's their life being told from them directly, especially with their voice. It's always so much a better experience. This is a book that I thrifted. I've had it for a while, and I didn't know the audiobook was an Audible only book when I bought it. I just assumed my library would have the audiobook and they didn't. And then I saw it was an Audible only. It was in this sale. I was like, hell yeah, let's buy it. And there we go. We got 2 Audible only audiobooks, 2 for 1. Love a good deal. So those are all the books that I bought in the month of January. I was like, oh, like I'm being so good with my physically buying books. And then I literally proceed to show you like, how many books did I just show you? We had almost 25 books this month. Almost 25 books we're talking about, but honestly I feel like I went a little crazy with the Kindle Daily Deals, but I got a lot of the fantasy books that were on my TBR this month, so I feel like there's not too many Kindle Daily Deals that I'll be buying anymore because I feel like I've gotten a bulk of the ones that I really want already. I mean, there's some that I do, like I'm thinking of, I'm like, if the Thursday Murder Club goes on Kindle Daily Deals, I will be buying that, like, you know, because especially that one, again, guys, I'm addicted to my ebooks. Even if I own the physical book and I can get it for a good price on the Kindle Daily Deals, I'm gonna do it because the wait time for that book, it came out in what, 2020 or 2019, and the wait time for my library is still like 10-15 weeks out. I've already read it, to be fair. Like, I'm not saying I need it, but that's just like one I can think of off the top of my head that I'd really buy right now. But I feel like in the next couple months when I do these monthly book hauls, the Kindle Daily Deals section won't be as large because I feel like I got a lot of good ones that will keep me busy for a while. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for sticking through this video. If you got to the end, you listened to all my random tangents, I love you. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this book haul. Subscribe down below for more bookish content. I do book of the month predictions, book hauls, wrap-ups, TBRs, the occasional vlog here or there. I always have vlogs planned out in my head, but the execution and actually getting them up on the screen takes forever. But yes, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.